everyone, and welcome to today's General Hospital recap. As always, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos or recaps. Would you believe me if I told you the reason I'm sitting on the floor doing this is because I usually use my totes as a tripod, and Misha and ECAT are fast asleep and I can't bear to wake them up. If so, then you know me very well. So let's get right to it. Rachel. So Valerie and Bobby are having lunch at the Metro Court, and Bobby wants Valerie's help planning Lucas and Brad's wedding, and Valerie kind of slips that she's been invasive in someone else's relationship recently, and she doesn't want to get involved in the middle of anyone else's relationship. And then she kind of slips the fact that, Luke and, like, the whole thing that went on with Laura and Lulu and Lucky and all them. And apparently Bobby, nobody told Bobby. So, like, I don't know. I think she definitely shouldn't be one of the last people to find out. So then Bobby gives Valerie a picture of Patricia when she was a teenager. Oh, and Valerie also kind of confides in Bobby that something happened between her and Dante. And then when Bobby leaves, Valerie is at the table alone and she's crying, and young Patricia comes up and hugs her. At the Haunted Star, Maxie visits Lulu, and Lulu tells Maxie that Dante thought she was having an affair. And Lulu tells Maxie that Dante, you know, he thought that she was hooking up with Dylan, so he decided to do the same thing with Valerie. And then Lulu tells Maxie that Dante and Valerie kissed, and Maxie's like, I knew it, I knew something was up with that girl. And Lulu was like, no, actually Dante initiated it, but I don't think that really matters to Maxie, you know? So then Lulu tells Maxie that that's all it was just a kiss, and she was lucky considering what Dante thought she was doing. And then Maxie tells Lulu that how her and Nathan were there on the 4th of July, and she got a really weird vibe, and she should have stayed, and she should have refused to leave until Valerie left. And then Lulu realizes the story Valerie told her about that night, that she and Dante kissed, didn't line up with what Maxie said, because Valerie never mentioned that Maxie and Nathan were there. So then Lulu asks Maxie not to hold this against Dante because she really wants everything to go back to the way it was. And Lulu's still in pain from the things that Dante said to her when she first got home. At the boxing place, Dante is jumping rope and thinking about his indiscretion with Valerie, so he's very angrily jumping rope. And I can only imagine what, like, that, scene description, I don't know, if you do anything with scripts, you know, like, it kind of gives, like, whatever, but you know what I mean. So then Nathan asks him what's bothering him, and Dante swears Nathan to confidence and tells Nathan that he cheated on Lulu and he slept with Valerie. So then Dante says he feels like his father with rationalizing everything away. And Dante says, again, how he doesn't want to ruin Rocco's life because Rocco deserves a mother and a father who loves him and love each other. And Nathan assures him that he'll keep his secret even from Maxie. And then, although Nathan does tell him that it might be better to get the truth out sooner rather than later, but Dante says he doesn't think his marriage could survive it. So then Maxie shows up at the boxing place and talks to Nathan. Rachel, I will be there in a second. She wants her dinner, and I'm filming first, but she's got to get her dinner in like 2 minutes. She needs to wait a hot second. So Maxie shows up at the boxing place and talks to Nathan and tells Nathan what Lulu told her, and he says, Dante already told me this, and she's like, it's ridiculous, you know, Lulu didn't do anything wrong, and he's like, well, she did lie, and she's like, oh, so lying is a good reason to kiss another woman? And that kind of makes Nathan go a little silent. And Maxie's like, well, I'm glad it didn't go any further because their marriage probably couldn't have survived it. And now Dante's put Nathan in a really awkward place with Maxie. And I don't necessarily think that was right of him to do. So then Dante arrives at the Haunted Star with flowers, well, red roses, which says a lot. And then Dante tells her how he's committed to making things right, and she says, I am too. And he says, good, because nothing and no one will ever get between us again. And I'm like, just wait a few months. Just wait a few months, because Valerie's going to rear her head. At the hospital, Brad tells Lucas he can't marry him. Why? Well, Brad can't marry Lucas, and it's not his parents, it's because he's already married. Dun dun dun. So then Lucas is really, really angry because he's like, well, I always thought our biggest thing would be your wandering eye, but turns out you've been using me to cheat. And then Brad tells him he doesn't understand, and Lucas gets pulled into the ER before Brad can explain. So I personally think that Brad is married to a woman, but that's just my thing. Like, it was, I don't know the circumstances, but like not for love, but for whatever arrangement or whatever. At the Quartermains, Michael is thinking that tearing down the Elm Street house might not be as okay with Luke as he said. And then there was a cute little exchange between Michael and Sabrina, and he pretended he was going to push her into the lake, and then he didn't, and then they were going to head up to the house, and she pushes him into the lake, and it's just so freaking adorable. And then they go into the boathouse, and they talk about how much they're falling for each other. At Elm Street, Luke is promising that when the Elm Street house comes down, he will too. Like, when it goes, he's gonna go too. And then Tim Spencer confronts Luke, and Tim Spencer just about convinces Luke to shoot himself. Oh, Luke has a gun, by the way. When young Patricia runs down the stairs to stop him. So Tim Spencer leaves after being very rude to Patricia. And Patricia says to Luke, if you kill yourself, then all the sacrifices I made for you will be for nothing. And then Luke is just racked with guilt because of his mom. His mom will never know how sorry he is. And then Carly, playing his mom, walks in. Rachel, 2 seconds and you'll get dinner. His mom tells him that there's nothing to forgive because he was just standing up in the best way he knew how. And his mom tells him his life is just beginning and now he needs to figure out who he is without all of his demons, which is very good advice. So then, what else? Oh, she tells him to find the man he was meant to be and choose to live. And then he unloads the gun and puts it on the table and they hug. And like, you can tell how much real emotion is in the scene because this probably is going to be one of their last scenes together, if not the last scene they ever filmed together. So, like, it's just, this whole week's been very emotional. I've been sad that I haven't been able to cover all week, but, you know, the past 2 days I was unavailable. So then Bobby arrives at the Elm Street house and asks Luke about the gun, and Luke's like, it's nothing. It's nothing, and he decides he knows what he's going to do for the rest of his life. Whew, very emotional day on General Hospital. The past 2 days were really, really good, too. I can't wait for tomorrow. Is tomorrow Anthony Geary's last day? Because I know they said it was going to be mid-July, and we're almost done with July. So, it might be really, really emotional tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow for more General Hospital, I promise. And I hope you have a great day. Bye. Now for Rachel to get her dinner.